I'm gonna be honest, guys. I went into LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight expecting absolutely nothing. And yes, I had my fair share of LEGO games, so I'm kinda familiar with the overall formula. But also, I have played all of the Arkhamverse Batman games, so I was kinda sneakily hoping that this is going to be Arkhamverse but in LEGO. And I can safely say, I was kinda right. Also, because of this particular combination, I could probably say this is the most ambitious LEGO Batman game I've played ever, and it does a lot of things really well. So today I want to talk about my first impressions of LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, based on 5 hours of game time. Let's get into it. The first thing that you probably will notice is it feels like LEGO plus Arkham hybrid, and for me it actually works really good. You kinda have all the elements of the Arkham games, and then you add up LEGO quirks and humor, and it actually feels really damn good. We are talking about combat, stealth, gadgets, gliding, and detective sections, while still keeping the goofy LEGO tone. I could probably describe it as the closest thing to a new Arkham game in years, just with LEGO charm layered on top. While I was playing the initial hours of the game, that is the first 2 areas or chapters or whatever you wanna call it, I was secretly hoping that eventually, when this is all over, the next map is probably going to be Gotham City. Because remember, I played through all of the Arkham games, and that's where that feeling was coming from. And oh my god, it actually happened. There it was, Gotham City, a full freaking map, and you can do whatever the hell you want. And to be honest, I love just messing around in Gotham. You get distracted constantly by collectibles, secrets, and hidden content instead of following the main story. Exploration actually feels rewarding, and traversal, especially gliding and using the Batmobile, is one of the most amazing things ever. You will definitely ignore the main mission, make no mistake. Obviously, you won't be able to complete everything unless you unlock more characters with more special abilities, but I mean, what else do you want other than being LEGO Batman and doing whatever the hell you wish in LEGO Gotham? Now, when it comes to story, what I managed to gather so far in my 5 hours of playtime, the game mixes content and references from different Batman eras, movies, animated shows, comics, and games without feeling random. It actually kinda makes sense when you see it as a whole story. It's pretty much a huge celebration of Batman Legacy, and it blends iconic versions into one story surprisingly well. For example, one of the missions in LEGO Batman is all about finding these teddy bears that have these chemical compounds, and then you are kinda using Batcomputer in order to figure out what the compounds are all about. That is when you fuse them together. And that's basically a plot point in The Batman Begins. Which, if you remember, if you watch the movie, it's all about Batman figuring out what Jonathan Crane is doing. That is dumping this hallucinogen inside the Gotham water supply. And then when you are kinda progressing through the story, you see Red Hood actually being the main bad guy who is doing this. Which again is a throwback to the Michael Keaton's Batman, in a sense that you witness how Joker became Joker. And that particular blending of all of these plots that we are already familiar with, it actually feels really, really good. So I can only imagine there's going to be more of these occasions where the plot points from all the Batman media is taken and then fused together in order to make some sort of a wholesome storyline. Another thing that impressed me is the visuals. Normally, I don't really talk about graphics, but this one, I would say, is the best looking LEGO game ever. With highly detailed LEGO textures, cinematic cutscenes, and a Gotham that feels more alive and atmospheric than previous LEGO titles. I especially like how the Batcave looks like. I think it's by far the best Batcave I've ever seen. And overall, you could see how the darker Batman tone still feels unmistakably LEGO. So again, like I said, I'm not really into graphics, but credit where credit is due. Now, if you have played previous LEGO games, you pretty much know how the LEGO formula works. Here, however, there are more RPG-like progression systems. You have the skill tree and gadget upgrades, you can customize Batcave, outfits, and vehicles, and combined with all the collectibles, this actually makes the game feel deeper and more rewarding. I would say compared to the previous LEGO games, unlocking stuff in LEGO Batman feels more meaningful. Finally, I want to talk about missions. I would say that they feel more memorable than older LEGO games. Mainly because, like I said before, you are fusing different plot points from different media, and you are kinda creating this wholesome picture of Batman. Which, when you think about it, nobody has done this before. The Batman franchise was always kinda fragmented and everybody had their own plot point, but here, when they're all merged together, it feels like it fits really good. Also, several elements have been borrowed from the Arkham games, for example, detective puzzles, action set pieces, and story moments that remix famous Batman scenes in creative way. If you have played LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, you can definitely see an improvement compared to the missions in there because here they feel tighter and more focused. Overall, I could say that the biggest and the most important elements of this game are Arkham-inspired gameplay, fun open-world Gotham, strong Batman fan service because obviously it is fan service, let's not kid ourselves, amazing traversal either if you're using Batmobile or gliding, and more progression and customization options. Basically, you could say this is a LEGO game that feels more ambitious than older entries. However, not everything is amazing, and for this section I'm going to play a bit of a devil's advocate, so hear me out. If you have been a long-time LEGO fan, you could say that this game leans too hard into Arkham mechanics, and it basically loses some of the classic LEGO identity. You could even say that it's basically Batman with LEGO visuals rather than a true LEGO Batman game. The focus on combat is much more heavier, the tone is much more darker, and the emphasis on goofy sandbox fun and character variety is reduced. Which basically brings me to my next point because older LEGO Batman games, especially titles like LEGO Batman 3 and DC Supervillains, had massive character rosters. Here the cast is more curated, and you could say that the game traded quantity for depth in a way that you might not enjoy. For example, you have fewer playable characters because I have seen that there's going to be maybe 8 of them, in comparison with the older LEGO games where you can have up to 50 characters in your character roster. That can lead to less experimentation, because in these initial 5 hours I was only playing with 2 characters. Again, not a huge deal breaker for me, I would personally only play with Batman, but we are talking about people who enjoy LEGO stuff, like previous LEGO games, so you need to take this into consideration as well. Also, another thing that I might mention, based on the things that I have seen, is that the game might feel short. I don't know where I'm getting this particular feeling because, like I said, I only played 5 hours of it, but it seems to me that there's not going to be a lot of time spent in this game. If I extrapolate by the characters that Batman is going to hang out with, I would say maybe there's going to be 5 more chapters and that's about it. Now, I could be wrong, but that's something you cannot really see in the initial 5 hours, so maybe when I finish the game or if I finish the game, I will know more and then I will probably go back to this particular point saying that I was wrong or I was right. Obviously, I could go online and spoil myself to see what's going on, but I don't want to do that, so if you don't mind those spoilers, again, you can always type stuff into Google to see the playtime or average playtimes for this particular game. Not to mention, you can check walkthroughs and see how many chapters there really are. Now, one thing that I kinda noticed were the boss fights. They don't really feel amazing, or at least the 2 major ones that I had. It was pretty much basic, and I kinda expected a bit more, especially the duration of the boss fight. For example, certain bosses, they basically took, couple of minutes in order to defeat. I was kinda thinking, okay, this is it. Is there maybe more of it? But then the cutscene started and that was my cue that the boss fight ended. I don't know, maybe boss fights are going to be more complex as I continue playing, but what I have seen so far, I'm not that impressed. Same thing goes with performance and technical issues. I'm playing on PC and sometimes I can see frame rate drops in open world Gotham, stutters when I'm driving the Batmobile, and I would say overall performance inconsistency. So to conclude, I would say, honestly, I think this game lands best if you're a Batman fan first and a LEGO fan second. If you love Batman lore, Gotham open world, so Arkhamverse essentially, and all that stuff that comes from it, like detective stuff, gliding around the city, gadgets, stuff like that, there's a lot here to enjoy. But if you're a fan of LEGO games where the goofy co-op chaos and unlocking 400 random character was a thing, I don't think this game might be for you. But at the same time, I respect the fact that developers actually tried something different instead of releasing the exact same game again and again. And at the end of the day, this is just my opinion or my first impression based on 5 hours of game time. So now I wanna hear from you. Have you played LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight yet? Do you think it is the right direction for LEGO games, or should the developers go back to the old formula? Post your comments down below so I can see what you think about this whole situation. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And that's it from me, until the next one.